All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Alahym in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. You pick it up on chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for any of you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Alahym only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. If I had to believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Well, praise be to the living Alahym in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Shalom, man. Let's get this party started in Psalms 51. You can pick it up explicitly at verse 10. Create in me a clean heart, O Alahym, and renew a right ruach within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your ruach hakadash from me. Restore unto me the joy of your salvation. Uphold me with your free ruach. Will I teach transgressors your ways? Sinners shall be converted unto you. Deliver me from blood guiltness, O Alahym, you Alahym of my salvation. My tongue shall sing aloud of your righteousness. O Lord, open you my lips, and my mouth shall show forth your praise. For you desire sacrifice. For you desire not sacrifice, else would I give. You delight not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of Alahym are a broken ruach, a broken and contrite heart. O Alahym, you will not despise. Do good in your good pleasure unto Zion. Build you the walls of Jerusalem. You shall be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offering and whole burnt offering. Then they shall offer bullocks upon your altar. So praise be to Yahuwah forever and always. Let's take a look at verse 17 explicitly of Psalms 51. Shalom, Mother Shalom. And let's get it. So, some of these things you should know. You should know sacrifice. It is zabah, zayin, bat, and kat. It's sacrifices of righteousness, sacrifices of strife, sacrifices to dead things, the covenant sacrifice, the Passover, the annual sacrifice, thank offering. So with that being said, you can give me what you have for Zayin, Bat, and Kat, and we can see that we have three things that really stand out for all of us. Sacrifices of righteousness, a covenant sacrifice, and the Passover. Yahushua was all three of these things. Again, what you're looking at, the sacrifices, because really I got to back it up to 16. He said, you desire not sacrifice. He said he does not. So in that instance, you would be looking at sacrifice of a regular annual sacrifice, regular slaughter of flesh of an animal. While you're thinking on Zayin, Bat, and Kat, I'll give you Jeremiah 7, which you should all be familiar with. And we'll come to Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 21. And maybe a little Malachi to go along with it. We shall see. Jeremiah 7 and 21. Thus saith Yahuwah of the Alahym of Yasharal, put your burnt offerings unto your sacrifices and eat flesh. For I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. I just want you to keep that in mind, because it is a strong possibility that we shall be visiting things that pertain to your coming out of Egypt during Passover or unleavened bread, but not in the fashion that you may believe, because we don't do things in an orthodox fashion as everybody else does. In my personal opinion, that's a waste of time to rehash things that you already know, and to do it annually. And you have some people that every year they get the same lesson every year for certain benchmark events, i.e. the feast days. That's completely unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? In my personal opinion. But that's just me. That's if you're doing it over an extended period of time. I think after 5 or 6 years, there's only so many different ways that you can tell us coming out of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're doing that to spark the minds of the people to remember. You know what I'm saying? But I have a question for you because the brother asked this question. I want to see how sharp y'all is. Not that you can answer the question, but that can you explain why? Because your explanation of why should come directly out of the law. What feast day do you believe that the Lord would return on, and why? And what book would you have to support your why? Not, oh, he's coming back on this day because this says this here, but the why. Hey, what at? I know about that. There you go. We got a baby llama in here. Tabernacles in the middle of the night, but why? Why tabernacles? Why is he returning at tabernacles? And you can't use in gathering because that's insufficient. It's an explicit reason, scripturally, why. Brother Sharona says trumpets. Why would you say trumpets? Also, we may use, because it hasn't been fulfilled very well. And we may use a little word to show you the folly of your good friend Willard Smith, but it's not going to be what y'all think it is. It's a different type of deal. That's strictly for men. That conversation is not for women. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell you this here. That particular matter definitely showed you the scallywags, whores, slut buckets, and gutter snipes. You know what I'm talking about? You say Trump is civic, why? Or as, but man, I shared that Corey Holcomb with y'all because that was hilarious. And he said he took that from one of my favorite films to view. You know what I'm talking about? Which is Tropic Thunder. That movie is hilarious to me. And a multitude of reasons. It ain't even that funny. It's just dumb funny. But he called that woman an evil, cankerous whore. And that's what she is. You never want to get caught up with an evil, cankerous whore. You say Exodus 19. You say the beast will reign for 3.5 years. And he'll return in the 7th month. Very well then. The wedding feast. Mother Sharona, the wedding feast, scripture-wise, going to line up with tabernacles. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get what Civic here referenced. He referenced Exodus 19, 11, and 13. I see why you would say that third day. I'm still waiting on that. Nobody ain't gave me the why yet. The feast has been given, but the why hasn't been given. You know what? Let me help y'all out a little bit. Let me help y'all out a little bit. You say the marriage supper of the Lamb. See, that's not the why. Tabernacles is the feast, but ain't nobody came up with the why. And the why is so simple that you might kick yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Let me finish here. This Jeremiah. Let me get back to 7:22 while y'all ponder upon that. Also, you should be pondering upon Zayin, Bot, and Kot, but I understand if it's not at the forefront of your mind because I asked you a more thought-provoking question. For I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. This thing commanded I them, saying, obey my voice, and I will be your Alahym, and you shall be my people. Walk you in all my ways that I've commanded you, that it might be well unto you. But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear, but walked in counsels and the imagination of their evil heart, and went backwards. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Mizraim, unto this day have I sent unto you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending. Yet you have not hearkened unto me, nor inclined their ear, but hardened their neck. They did worse than their fathers. Therefore you shall speak all these words unto them, but they will not listen to you. You shall also call unto them, but they will not answer you. But you shall say unto them, this nation that obey not the voice of Yahuwah their Alahym, nor receive correction, truth is perished, it is cut off from their mouth. So at this point, there's nothing reliable or sound about anything that comes out of these people's mouth. You know what I'm talking about? That's going to lead you into what I just mentioned beforehand. And I'm going to get some book for it, but let me say this because it's on my mind right now. Let me tell you, young men, son, man. Let me tell something to every man who can hear the sound of my voice, whether live or on a playback. Don't never let no woman put no battery in your back to prove your masculinity to her. If you do that, you a damn fool and you deserve everything you get. Don't never let no woman put no battery in your back to prove that you a man to her. If she does that to you, I'm telling you now, she does not respect you. She will laugh at you heartily when she sees that you are her puppet and that she can make you move as her attack dog at any given time. Never let no woman move for you to do anything to prove your masculinity to her. It is not your job to prove that you are a man to any woman walking this earth. You know what I'm talking about? And stuff like that come from you pedestalizing your mama. And that's why you can allow a woman to do you like that. It's a disrespect to your Father in heaven. It's a disrespect to your Savior. And it's a disrespect to your Father. I don't care if your father was a worthy man, an unworthy man, a winner, a loser, a failure, whatever the case may be. It's a dishonor to every man in your bloodline for you to be able to be moved by the whims of a woman. You're supposed to be a leader. A woman should never be able to move you to do something that you were not going to do. Absolutely should never happen. I'm talking about what you seen in that scene was a nigga getting done like a child. Every last one of us know that look your mama gave you when you out of pocket. Well, that's what she gave this grown man. You know what I'm talking about? See, this right here, for the people who don't be really knowing, this is what niggas is talking about when they say this nigga's a simp. That's what that is. Because you're living for the validation of others and you're not self-validated. And that really comes because, like we were talking about last week, because you don't love yourself. So you feel like you have to do other things to get people to love you. If I do this, then they'll love me. That is nowhere as a man that you would ever want to be, because anyone under your charge is subject to those insecurities that you possess. You know what I'm talking about? If you possess that level of insecurity, your family is subject to that. Any man who attaches themselves to you is subject to that. You'll destroy everything you touch because you're going to lead, rule, and make decisions based off of your insecurities, your lack of confidence, and you being devoid of self-love. And as before I proceed, never, ever in your life sacrifice your dignity and self-respect for no woman. Never sacrifice your dignity and self-respect for no woman. No woman on this earth is worth that. Hell, ain't no person on this earth worth that. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody is worth you sacrificing your dignity and self-respect. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't do it. It's better to walk away and feel the pain of separation than to a lifetime of pain of sacrificing your dignity and respect. As a man, that's all you got. That's part of your manhood. You got to stand on that. But let me get you this Luke 12 to help you out with the question I asked y'all. Just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit back and ask yourself, man, would the Father in heaven approve of you conducting yourself like that? That's what I mentioned earlier. You seen all the gutter snipes, the slut buckets, the whores. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, defend your wife. Hell, you say, finna toss no hundreds of millions of dollars away for a slut hoe, an evil, cankerous whore. I will not do it. I will not do it. You got to know time and space and decorum. You a man. You at the end of the day, that's your life, man. You really would sacrifice hundreds of millions of dollars for a woman who say you don't satisfy her sexually and say it to the whole world? Nigga, she ain't got no respect for you. See, nobody don't give a damn if you say that about no man. God forbid niggas say you look like you bald-headed scallywag. That's what she is. She a bald-headed hoe. But I understand that's his wife. You know what I'm talking about? In his mind. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, and I ain't never telling a man don't defend the honor of your wife if you seen fit. But boy, I ain't finna sacrifice hundreds of millions of dollars to do it. That I ain't gonna do. I ain't gonna throw away my ability. I'm not gonna throw away my freedom. See, some of y'all ain't never been to jail. Like been there and had to be there for a while. You know, you had to get your Snicker bar. You understand? Y'all don't know what it's like to put on state blues and sit up on a damn bump with an ID hanging from your shirt waiting to be counted, man. You understand me? You don't know what that's like. You don't know what that's like to be in a circle of grown men, butt naked, and you got to bend over and open up your rectum. You know what I'm talking about? See, this is what I'm using this descriptive language for a reason. Don't let nobody trick you off the streets on some folly. And get what? Restlawn Cemetery, Evergreen Cemetery, Edgewood Cemetery, St. Nicholas Cemetery is full of people who went there for some stupid junk like that, man. You know what I'm talking about? But that prison, man, don't let nobody trick you off these streets, man. Don't let no woman do it, because once she trick you off these streets, she gonna be bouncing up and down on another digging stick, and your commissary count gonna be low. She ain't coming to see you, man. She ain't gonna write you back. You gonna be calling, is that Jody? That's what's gonna happen. Because they gonna forget about you, man. They gonna forget about you. That junk sounds sweet while you talking about it till you go into court, and she here 25 years. Till she here 10, 15 years. You know what I'm talking about? Then see how much she loves you. Because you could talk all that gangster talk till you got to ride with a nigga for 10, 15, 20 years. No penis, no man, no company, no nothing. I agree. You know what I'm talking about? Imagine that. You think your old lady love you? You ain't going to go catch you 10, 15 years, see how much she love you then. It's real easy to say how much you love a nigga till he got to be gone for 10 years. Till he got to be gone for 15 years. She going to forget about you, man, because she going to put herself first. She not going to put you first, my G. You know what I'm talking about? So you better put your hooah first, then put yourself first, and then let the chips fall where they may. You know what I'm talking about? Don't be jumping out here losing your life for nothing, man. Oh, I already know you know Civic from working there. Shoot, working there make you be like, boy, I don't see how these boys do it. Well, I'm trying to tell you, boy, they got 5 years up out of me, boy. They can't get there another day, not for no folly. Well, I'm only going to prison for the word, boy. I'm not going to prison for nothing else. You know what I'm talking about? And I mean that. What was a nigga working for me, man? That nigga jumped in the car. That nigga had some fire on him. I didn't know he had no fire. I say, my G, I'm going to keep him hot with you. If we get pulled over and these people ask who pistol this is, boy, you going to jail. I looked him dead in the face and told him that. You're going to jail. Boy, I got a wife and a baby on the way, man. It took me 5 years to build what I done built to this particular point, boy. I'm not throwing that away on some old street code, because if you a real nigga, you shouldn't even force me to have to make that decision. You know what I'm talking about? Because, boy, you're going to jail, boy, because I'm going to let them know. That's his pistol, man. He brought that in here. I don't carry no fire. I'm a legitimate businessman. I know I'm a convicted felon. I don't carry no weapons. You going to jail, boy, and I mean that. You know what I'm talking about? And I mean that. I ain't keeping no code for none of you niggas. You know what I'm talking about? Well, that's off, man. I'm not in no streets, bro. I don't carry no pistols. I don't carry no rocks. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna be going in front of people I do business with to explain, yeah, I had to get it. Then I got to call my wife. Oh, I need you to bond me out to keep it real with you. Nigga, you crazy as hell. I'm not doing that. And the nigga can feel how they want to feel. They can think what they want to think. I promptly don't care. I really don't care. You know what I'm talking about? Now, you got to think about this type of stuff, man. Boy, as a man, this is your life. You're the creator of your life. Man, the only person who should be making any demands and dictates in your life is your God. And that's it. If he tell you to go to jail, then to jail I'm going. Now, I mean, it's not if you in the streets, man. If you committing crimes, man, you know what you signed up for. If you get jammed, you know what I'm talking about? You got to go do your bid. Ain't no need to tell it on nobody. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that wholeheartedly. If you in the street and you doing crimes and you get caught, you got caught. Ain't no need to tell on nobody else. You know what I'm saying? If I serve the police, if I got set up or I got caught with a brick in the trunk, what I'm called to tell them, oh yeah, Shaul got some dope too. Nah, man, that's that whole stuff, man. Go and do your bid, bro. Shaul ain't got nothing to do with the dope you got caught with. You know what I'm talking about? But again, that's a different type of life, man. That's street code. You ain't in the street, you know what I'm saying? That don't apply to you. The no snitching thing was never for civilians. It was always for the soldiers at arms. That's who it always was for. Luke chapter 12. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. There we go. You can pick it up at 35. Yeah, I ain't in the streets no more, boy. You going to jail. You know what I'm talking about? Playing with me nothing like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, you going to jail. They pulled us over. They could just some dope, a gun in the car. Shoot, that's that nigga junk. And I'm gonna tell you that before they come up. You better go ahead and be 21 by yours, boy. You understand me? Cause boy, you're going to jail. Cause I ain't going. I ain't paying for no lawyer. I ain't bonding out. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't going through book. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't no sitting in here for 3 weeks for no constructive possession and they gonna drop it. Boy, you going to jail by yourself. You understand? This is Luke 12:35. Let your loins be girded about and lights burning. And you yourselves, like unto men that wait for their Lord when he return from the wedding, that when he come and knock, that he may open unto him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he comes, shall find watching. Truly I say unto you that he shall gird himself and make them sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third, and find, so blessed are those servants. So let me ask you, good fellas, what is the first, second, and third watch referring to? That's something we ain't talked about in a long time. So I'm trying to stir up your minds right now. What is the first, second, and third watch referring to? First, second, and third watch. What is it referring to? We're going to grab some stuff out the law in a minute, or maybe I'll have y'all grab it. I ain't decided yet. We ain't talked about it in a while. It's going to help you see why. It's going to help you for the why of why is tabernacles the feast that he shall return to, since we're talking about a covenant sacrifice. And also, by the grace of Alahym, I'm setting up our next transition to the next song we're going to. I just won't announce that song until probably Saturday afternoon. I'll screw it. We're going to Psalms 81 after this. Nobody don't know what that first, second, and third watch is referring to? Y'all done forgot? I know it's been a minute. It's been a little while. He said, blessed are those servants who find watching in the first, second, and third watch. Somebody got to give me something, man. Now, see, Brother Shaul mentioned, he said Chris Rock demonstrated his manhood, and he did. Because we're not here to go back and forth about whether was it staged or whether it was real. That is irrelevant. The reason why it's irrelevant because the witchcraft that they sought to execute is in the earth. So whether he slapped them or not is grossly irrelevant. That's for the fake woke niggas on the internet. Now, if you believe it's fake, that's your business. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that looking at it because I've been watching wrestling for 35 years. The first time I saw it, I just automatically thought about a wrestling work. That's what it looked like to me. You know what I'm talking about? Man, not on some old, oh, that's what it was. That was just my first thought. You know what I'm saying? Looked like a work. Like I said, I've been watching wrestling for years. You know what I'm talking about? I've slapped someone before in my life. I ain't never seen that happen like that before. No, ma'am, not the foolish virgins on this one. But like I say, I'm looking at more so of the witchcraft. You know what I'm talking about? And the esoteric meaning behind things. Because I told you the same thing when I seen it the next morning. Yeah, it looks like it's some old Mother Goddess programming to me. You know what I'm talking about? Teaching men to worship and bow down at the footstool of the Mother Goddess and do her bidding like a son husband should, aka Horus. Move at the direction of Isis as I tell you to move, or whatever iteration of the Mother Goddess that you will want to use. You know what I'm saying? Stanley looked at it as a humiliation ritual, which you could say that because he, let me humiliate you before I hand you pt7. Because if y'all remember, I explained to y'all what the Oscars is. You remember the Oscar statue is nothing but the Egyptian god pt7. Y'all forgot about that? Y'all forgot they did this in Egypt? You know what I'm saying? Y'all forgot about that? Y'all remember when we discussed that? We spent a good 20, 30 minutes, good year and a half or so ago discussing that. The origin of the Oscars. That's an Egyptian ritual, literally. 4 actors and thespians that they had going on in their culture at that time. Now, let me remind y'all who pt7 is, man. Y'all moving kind of slow this evening. Ain't nobody helping me out. Don't nobody know what the first, second, and third watch is referring to? I give you one more minute before I move on and have to show you. That means I'm definitely gonna have to show you. Look at Daedra. Ptah is the creator god, the maker of things, a patron of craftsmen, especially sculptors. He's the chief controller of craftsmen. What is Ptah's powers? Again, he has the creative power of speech. He conceived the world and brought it through the creative power of speech. That's interesting that right after the veneration of Ptah, it come out that Bruce Willis is using his ability to talk. That's what I sent you. I think I sent you that. Bruce Willis got some disease I ain't never heard of. A phasis, or whatever the case may be. It is the degenerative ability to speak, write, or communicate whatsoever. It can be brought about from a stroke, multiple head injuries, or a slow-growing brain tumor. Oh, I thought I did. It's in the chat, though. Also, Ptah is the creator god of Memphis. What does Memphis mean? You ask? Let's see. Memphis means his beauty. No more Die Hard movies. No more movies. That nigga's done. What made me come across it was something. It was something that when I seen it, because Jason Black posted about the junk, and his statement was, aphasia. It's ending his career. He's 67 years old, and he was just making the point. That's why men has to be ruthless in your ability to produce, because at any moment it can end. You got to run hard and fast and accumulate as much as you can before it does, and let that be a reminder to ungrateful women and lazy children who don't appreciate your sacrifice for their benefit. This is why we do what we do. You know what I'm saying? And let that be known, because your time ain't long. You know what I'm saying? So you got to maximize your time. So nobody seems to remember what those 3 watches is. Maybe this will help you out. Genesis chapter 14. But yes, Daedra, you were correct. Genesis chapter 14 and 17. And that is the why. That is true. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Kodarmer. And the kings that were with him at the valley of Shavah, which is the king's dale, Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. He was the priest of the Most High Alahym. And he baruched him and said, Baruch be Abram of the Most High Alahym, possessor of Shamahim and Araz. And Baruch be the Most High Alahym, which delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him tithes of all. So this question is this. What feast day does this represent? This should be very easy for you to answer. Also keep in mind that you should be thinking about Zayin, Bat, and Kat for sacrifice from Psalm 51, verses 16 and 17. But what feast days does Genesis 14 represent? Oh, this is easy, man. This should be a slam dunk, huh? No, sir. It is not first fruits. Come on, man. Y'all got to do better than this, man. This here ain't right. This ain't right at all. Y'all got to do better than this here. I only need one. What feast day does this represent? I mean, this should be pretty obvious. 14. 17. Yes, Passover. The bread and wine should have been the giver. Then also, when you look at, he delivered your enemies into your hand. So you know the last enemy to be delivered, the death was delivered into Mashiach's hand. This is why he's able to get tithes of all, or the increase. Let's look at the next thing. Let's come to Genesis. What this is, I need what, 21? Hold up. Let me make sure I'm in the spot that I need, that I desire. Because that's not what I want. That's not what I want. I'm over here to Genesis 21. I feel like I'm overlooking what I desire. Genesis chapter 21. You can pick it up at verse 1. And Yahuwah visited Sarah as he said, and Yahuwah said unto Sarah, did unto Sarah as he had spoken. Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age at the set time which Alahym had spoken to him. Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, who Sarah bare to him, Isaac. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as Alahym commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac, his son, was born. Sarah said, Alahym have made me to laugh. All that here will laugh with me. And he said, who have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given suck, for I born a son in his old age? Hold on one second. And the child grew and was weaned. Abraham made a great feast the day that Isaac was weaned. What feast day is this being referenced? When it comes to the apocryphal books, bro, it's just got to line up with the law and the prophets. If it don't, then you have to take that however you're going to take it. You know what I'm talking about? We don't necessarily use them because there's contradictions in them. Yes, sir, you have first fruits. Why is this first fruits? Is the question. What? And then you have what Paul wrote to you in Romans 8, being the first fruits of the ruach, or firstborn sons. Now let's come over here to Genesis chapter 29. I said this son, we ain't talked about this in a long time. Genesis 29 and 21, I believe. Yes, Genesis chapter 29 and 21. And Jacob said unto Laban, give my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. What feast is detailed here in Genesis 29? Because, yeah, man, very well, good sir. Yeah, because, you got stuff in the apocrypha, man. They go to talk about they casting out spirits with fish guts. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no other witness for that. You know what I'm talking about? Nowhere. Or stuff they say that's in Enoch, talking about portals and all this type of stuff, where the book of Enoch is the only witness. We don't have another witness to corroborate that. And remember, all matters got to be established with 2 or 3 witnesses. I ain't saying that those books ain't this, that, and the third. It's just, is there another witness? Because if the law don't bear witness to stuff that was written after the law, I can't receive that. You know what I'm talking about? I can't receive that. That don't even make sense. If it's stuff that, no sir, not on this one. If it's stuff that Enoch is talking about, that ain't nowhere in the text. No, it's all in Enoch. I can't accept that. I'm not telling nobody they can't read it or do that, they're in the third, but I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? I can't do nothing with it. What feast day is referred to in Genesis 29? Y'all don't know what feast day in Genesis 29? I thought that would be a slam dunk for you too. Well, I'm glad we did do this here. Because that's why sometimes we got to go back and look at stuff. Genesis 29 and 21, starting there. Yes, sir. You have your tabernacles. Now, if these things line up with the 3 watches, right, that we read, and Luke 12, why is these 3 watches necessary? Why are these 3 feasts spoken of before they actually were given unto you? Do y'all understand why? And if you don't, that's fine. Because like I say, it's been a long time since we've had this conversation. Come over here to Exodus chapter 23. Give me a second, man. Eventually, I'll get myself over there. Exodus 23. Yes, sir. And there it is, sir. And that is why Tabernacles is the feast that the Lord must return on. Because every male don't got to come up for trumpets. Every male don't got to come up for Purim. Every male don't got to come up for atonement. Every man got to fast, but every man don't got to come up to Jerusalem. Every man don't got to do that. Verse 14 of Exodus chapter 23. 3 times shall you keep a feast unto me. In the year, you shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded you in the time appointed of the month of Abib. For in it you came out of Mizraim, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of the harvest, the first fruits of your labors. See, understand this here on the spiritual side of things. One, you got the coming up out of Egypt. So you got your coming up out of captivity. You got your coming up out of bondage. You got your coming up out the house of bondage. You got your coming up out of sin. The first fruits of your labors. We know that this man labored and forth to bring forth children. That is the first fruits. That's why you had to appear on Pentecost. Let's continue. which you have sown in the field. We know that he was sown in the field. You understand? That's what it was talking about if he come on the first watch or the second watch or the third watch. See, you got the people who were there for the first watch for Passover. You got the people who were there because they were watching on the first watch for Pentecost, or the second watch for Pentecost. Those who would be gathered that go see Paul's. Let me get you this Mark 13 for you now. Because see, we talking about sacrifices of righteousness, covenant sacrifice, and the sacrifice for Passover from Psalms 51, the Zayin, Bat, and Kai. This is why, yes, ma'am, this is why it's important for you to understand the foundational basis for this particular thing. That's why I'm glad it came to my mind in that fashion. Let the Lord be esteemed. Praise be to Yahuwah, because these are things that you need to know to understand the baseline of that information and not just be like, oh, he coming, because it came to my mind because, like I said, the brother was like, you could come to Mark 13 and 28. Because brother was like, when you think he coming back, I think he coming back on trumpets. No, he's not going to come back on trumpets. And this is why. This is us understanding the law. What does Numbers 10 say about trumpets? The trumpet is for the blowing for alarm for war. The trumpet is for the blowing for movement. The trumpet is for the blowing for the preparation of gathering. So when you see him say that he's blowing a trumpet, that is for a sign that it's time for you to move. You know what I'm saying? That certain things are about to go down. How do we know this? Because 7 trumpets are going to be blown before the last one. You understand? You know what I'm talking about? So just because trumpets gets blown on the first day of the 7th month, of course, you know, you still got a 2-week gap. You know what I'm saying? So this is understanding. Remember, he said, no man know the day or the time, but this man don't leave you out here blind, moving like you don't know what's going on. That's Christian theos to make you think that this man, your father don't operate like that. He's going to tell you what time it was. Them people didn't know what day they were leaving up out of Egypt per se specifically, but they knew that there was a day that they were going to dip. Because when I say that, meaning, because clearly they knew they were going to leave the next day after Passover because he told them that. You know what I'm talking about? But we're talking about in regards to him laying out those plagues. They didn't get a timeline when all them plagues was getting dropped. He just told them he was going to drop them. You know what I'm talking about? You think the people didn't know when they were finna dip? They had a general idea. You know what I'm talking about? You get a general idea when you're going to depart. Remember, he said, no, nobody know the day or the hour. But because we know how Yahuwah operate, we know between the 15th and the 22nd day of the 7th month, boy, you're going home. That's why he said, blessed are those servants who his master finds watching in the 3rd watch. 13:28, Mark. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When her branch is yet tender and put forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So in like manner, when you shall see these things come to pass, know that it is near, even at the door. See, for some of y'all who've been here, you know this man say he looking for summer fruit. He told you that in Micah. What you think you gathering up during tabernacles? You gathering up summer fruit, boy. You gathering up summer crops. You supposed to have been ready. Truly, I say unto you that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. Shamahim and Arat shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But that day and hour no man know, no not the Malachim which are in Shamahim, neither the son, but Abba. Y'all should know that from Zechariah, that it say that. It's a day known to Yahuwah. See, this is stuff, the text laid this stuff out. It's the sad part is, right, somebody think we flexing some type of scriptural knowledge or something, right? When we're letting you know that this man didn't tell you this just to tell you this. You had already been told this. So then if you've already been told this, then you can go back and look and analyze what is being spoken of where he has already told you this. For my people who know, put it in the chat where he has told you this at. Now I'm going to go to it because I know that there's probably somebody in here who does not know. This ain't for the pack of look what we can find, because we could do that. That's nothing. But I know that there may very well be someone here who does not know. We're not telling you this stuff just to tell it to you. We're telling it to you so you know. That means if you know, then you know that Yahuwah is reliable. Not that we got precepts to toss. Who cares about that? That's some lame junk. You understand? See, when you catch niggas, look at my precepts, that nigga's a goofy. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga's a weirdo. Nigga's a lame. He's a square. Because that's for sure. You know what I'm talking about? You need to know. No, not Malachi 3 and 10 on that one, Stan. You about to chop. You about to book off. You think about the gathering. Okay, I see where your money. You think about the gathering. I'm talking about in regards to verse 32 of Mark 13. You think about the gathering. I can't knock it. And see, that go back to bring me your tithes that we were reading about in Genesis 14 when he said he gave him tithes of all that he had. Because you the tithes, nigga. Oh, you forgot about Isaiah chapter 6. For those of you who've been around for a while. For those of you that haven't, that's another conversation. I'll share it with you in a moment. You know what I'm talking about? Let me go on and get it for you because we ain't got a lot of time. Zechariah 14. You could pick it up at verse 4. Shoot, you could even look at 3. Because Jerusalem will be ravaged and spoiled. Women will be raped. You know what I'm saying? And this is I was talking to my man about that the other day. Because they don't know the word like that. And they were talking about a son came up, a woman got raped. And I'm like, yeah, people talk about the word, you know what I mean? And be saying, what is the Bible don't talk against rape. I'm like, bro, it's right in the law that a rapist is the same as a murderer to Yahuwah. Yeah, you were thinking on something else. I see why you dropped it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. You understand? But he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, bro, Yahuwah see a rapist as a murderer. A rapist and a murderer are on the same page. You know what I'm saying? But people who don't know the book, they don't know that. And that's my point. And my mention that is we go through stuff so you can know what is actually in here and how he operates and what he says is going to happen. He don't leave people in the dark guessing. What type of man you take him for? Verse 3, right? Then shall Yahuwah go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand at that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. The Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst towards the east and towards the west. A very great valley. Half of the mountain shall remove towards the north, half of it towards the south. Hey, shoot, man, I tell that to anybody, but I ain't worried about nobody who walk around with their mama throw rug talking about they got on the outfit. We don't listen to nobody like that. We don't listen to somebody who don't look like he done bathed in 6 weeks. But we ran up on them boys on GMS, man. We got it. It's on tape in there somewhere. We were just talking about that the other day, man. We hit that boy with something. That boy said, you done went under the earth. You know what I'm talking about? That's deep. That's under the earth. But it wasn't that it was deep. Only reason why he mentioned that is because I said something to him that he had never heard before. And he thought on it. And it made sense to him. You know what I'm talking about? That's all that was, because when he stopped, he couldn't even get a chance to refute it because it made sense to him. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is now he going to begin to think on, do these dudes really know what they talking about? And that's all you want to try to do is give somebody some information and prayerfully Yahuwah spark something in their mind. That's all you can do. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can do, truth be told. And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. You shall flee like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, Malach, and Yehuda. And Yahuwah your Alahym shall come, all the saints with you. And it shall come to pass in that day, the light shall not be clear, dark, but it shall be in the day which shall be known to Yahuwah, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass at evening time, it shall be light. See, this man has already told you this. So Yahushua ain't doing nothing but giving you information that they should have already known. Let's continue in Mark 13. Take you heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is as a man taking a far journey who left his house and gave authority to his servants and to every man his work and commanded the porter to watch. We discussed this before. Him giving authority to his servants lines up with David giving the courses to the priests. Yahushua has given authority to his apostles, his prophets, his evangelists, his teachers, which is in kin to David giving authority to the Levites to work in their offices. Y'all remember that? We had a conversation about them courses. Do you remember? And everybody in the commanded, the porter, somebody who worked in the temple, and they were to watch to let the people know when, what, where, and how. Watch you therefore, for you know not when the master of the house come, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. Lest coming suddenly he finds you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Bruce Arians is retiring from coaching and moving in the front office. Exodus 23. See, that's probably a scam for them to move left. See, these people play all types of games. And it's all type. See, this is one thing that they do in this society, man, is they try to play on your emotions. That's why they put movies to move you on your emotions, TV shows to pull at your emotions, music to pull at your emotions. Even this thing with Will Smith is to pull at your emotions. See, everything pulling at your emotions ain't for sadness. It could be for anger. It could be for all type of things. All manner of emotion, because everything they're trying to do is to keep you in an emotional state. And if you're in an emotional state, you're in the flesh. And if you're in the flesh, you can't please Alahym. Better pay attention to the tricks that the devil pull. That's how you won't get God. The devil, number one way to win you is to keep you in the flesh. If you're in the flesh, you'll never be close to Yahuwah. It's not going to happen. Because he's going to resist the flesh. It's enmity to him. He got a hatred for it. Because everything the flesh is diametrically opposed to Yahuwah. It's an enemy to Yahuwah. You can never operate in the same space. That's why you see a lot of conflict amongst men and women in this particular country or this particular society, Western society more specifically, because they want men to be emotional like women. And now some of these men are weak, so they want women to be like men. So now both parties are fighting against one another because they're not operating in the space, because one has hatred for the other. The woman doesn't want to be a man. She thinks she wants to be a man, but deep down in her soul, she don't want to be a man. That man don't want to be a woman, but you know what I'm talking about? But he feel more comfortable acting like one because he feel like he wants some type of privilege. That's why you have acrimony between the two. That's why you have so much contention and strife. You know what I'm saying? Or if a man behave, just like and we mentioned earlier, she wants him to behave like a man. If he would have sat there and looked at her and been like, I'll deal with it later. You know what I'm talking about? That would have been the manly response, which was to keep us cool and not let nobody see you sweat and make a jackass out of yourself in front of your peers. You don't get no, that's why I say only thought pocket sluts and whores find that to be, that's protection. I'm not protecting you because your feelings got hurt. You know what I'm saying? You're not in an immediate danger. Your life is not threatened. That's not protecting you. It's not my job to protect your feelings. Who told you that? You made that up. Ain't no man ever told you that. You made that up. And then you tell some beta male sent mangina that is what he's supposed to do. You know what I'm talking about? Because guess what a real woman gonna do? Then on top of this here, this is when you know a woman knows that her husband is not a live wire. Because I can move him to go do some junk to get, see, it's different because that was on a Hollywood sound stage. But if you tell a nigga to do that in the street, he go up and put his hands on a nigga, that other nigga might have some fire, and now you going to a funeral. You know what I'm talking about? What if that other nigga can fight? And now your man done got beat up. Now you done lost, now it's a double L for him. Because you done let this woman put a battery in your back. But see, if a woman know her man is a live wire, she gonna stop him from doing that because she know where he gonna go with it. And she don't want him to go there because she don't want him to go to jail. I don't want to be without you because I know my husband gonna kill you. He going to the trunk. He got hands. He not gonna let it go. She gonna be like, nah, baby, don't you do that. That's when you know. See, when a woman be like, yeah, that's a scallywag. That's a thought pocket. You know what I'm talking about? That ain't no woman. That is an evil, cankerous whore. If your woman take pleasure on you getting physically violent or getting in altercations with other men behind her, that woman don't give a damn about you. You know what I'm talking about? It ain't even just, it's not westernized education, man. It's the nature of a woman. Man, Will Smith and her put up there, we agents of chaos. They said it. The nature of a woman is to cause confusion if left unchecked and unfettered. They came there for folly. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm just talking about a woman who care about you. If your woman know that my man will fight behind me, number one, she's not going to put him in a position where he going to have to do that. You know what I'm talking about? If she see a situation has a point to escalate, she going to make sure that she de-escalate him because she doesn't want to be without him. You know what I'm saying? See, she cares enough about him to say, I love his masculine energy so much that I would not want him to go to jail about something that is insignificant. Man, let me tell you something, man. You can make your mouth fry fish. You can say whatever you want to say out your mouth. Just keep your hands to yourself. Now, of course, there's limits to what you can say out your mouth, because truth be told, let's keep it a buck. You can't say anything about a man's wife while he's standing right there and be shocked if there's repercussions. You know what I'm talking about? Can't be shocked. That nigga want to slap you up, punch you out, kick you out. You can't be like, you can't walk like, just like Buddy said about what's her name wife. Oh, she probably a beluga whale. See, you can't say that. You know what I'm saying? And then not expecting this man say, "Oh, you want to fight? Let's fight then." You can't do that, because a fight may come with that. But at the end of the day, as a man, you have to dictate. You have to dictate. Imagine if when Yahusha was on the tree, if you was really son of God, you would come down. You really gonna let a woman amp you up and lose your blessing, boy? Because that's what I was doing. That was his wife trying to put a battery in his back for him to do something contrary to what he's supposed to have been doing. You have to pay attention to that. But I'm here to tell you, man, I seen this in my lifetime. This is why I had this. This is why I hit this way. Remember, I told y'all this when Lil Muffin was little. I told her, you ain't got but one time to call me talking about a nigga put his hands on you and you go back to him. I hope he kill you. You know what I'm talking about? Because I done seen people in my apartments where this girl called her people around there because this dude put his hands on, and she called the police on them. And you called them around there. You know what I'm talking about? It's dudes who done lost their life behind stuff like that. Because you want to throw a battery in the back for somebody to come up and be your attack dog. You're not finna manipulate and use me like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about this real life stuff. Bump Will Smith. I done seen that type of situation happen before. I've heard of situations happen like that before. And there was men who lost their lives or lost their freedom or got beat up. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to jail for you. Absolutely not. You're going to be like, baby, you heard what he said to me? He called me fat. Well, shoot, did he lie? You know what I'm talking about? He said I was ugly. Well, shoot, you ain't ugly to me. What you care? Why you care if he called you ugly? You like that nigga, son? You want to go home with him? You want him to take care of you? Because you can gladly go with him. That ain't no reason to run up on somebody, man, and risk damaging your life. Because let me tell you something, man. One split-second decision can have major ramifications on your life for years. For years. You can't be that foolish, man. Remember the book tell you, man, bosom rests, the anger rests in the bosom of fools. He that slow to wrath, that show forth the righteousness of Yahuwah. Because if you're quick to wrath, that man say unrighteousness is in you. So that means you got to think about stuff like this here. If you say you in the word, man, if you say you serve Yahuwah, this stuff you got to think about. You gonna let somebody put a battery in your back? Prove my man's a protector. You don't want no woman who feel like you need to walk around here and prove you a protector. That woman don't care about you. She don't care about you. And you'll find that out when you sitting in that jail cell and you wondering, man, who that is at the house? What's that noise I hear? Man, let me tell y'all something real, man. Average woman ain't gonna do a year bid with you, man. Well, you go to jail, the average woman is not gonna stick out them 10 months on that 12-month sentence you're gonna get. You gotta do 85% of your time in the state of Florida, and the average woman ain't gonna stick out them 10 months, man. She ain't gonna stick it out. She gonna leave you, man. Now, she might rock with you when you get back out, but she not gonna hold you down while you in here. This is a sad, sobering truth. You need to know it. I've been locked up. I done seen it. I'm talking about niggas' mamas don't stick with him, man. You thinking wives, but that woman really got to walk with you to ride out on the bed with you, man. Man, that's not the norm. That nigga, that's TV junk, man. She going to get another dude. And she going to forget about you, man, till you come home. Out of sight, out of mind. Now you mad. You come home, she had one child with you. You come home, there's 2 more babies in the house. Them babies ain't yours. Now you want to beat her up. I went to jail for you. Ain't nobody tell you to do all that. That's what she gonna look you in your face and tell you, man. I ain't asked you to do that. Now you're mad. You don't ruin your life. I'm telling y'all this so you can tell them young boys that don't let these whores throw no battery in your back, man. You supposed to, as a man, supposed to know when you're supposed to activate for your wife. You ain't supposed to move because she wants you to move. Man, do you understand where we would be at, where Yahuwah would be looking, man, if he moved every time he wanted us to move? Do you not know all them times he told you, call on your gods, nigga? You know what I'm talking about? Tell them to come save. I ain't coming to do it. Well, you better pay attention to your God, man. You forgot what it said in the book of Judges? You forgot when he said, when you call, I ain't going to answer? He said, call on Baal. Tell him to come do it. Oh, you forgot when you said, oh, let me come back to my first husband. It was better for me then. Man, Yahuwah ain't never simped out. Don't let these old scallywag whores tell you this man gonna come around here and do that. Let me tell you something, man. Yahuwah protect a woman who's worthy to be protected. He protects the honor of a woman of honor. You can't protect an unhonorable woman. You ain't got no honorable woman when she could get before the world and tell you that you did not satisfy her sexually while she was getting knocked down by her son's friend in your house. Do you know how disrespectful it is for a woman to have sex with another man in your house? That hoe would have been on the street right then. I would have took the divorce. She could have took 4/5 of what I got, but Lord, I'm free. But you also got to remember something. Them people were Scientologists, so you ain't no telling what type of subterfuge them people on. Come on back over here, man. Shoot, Dawn know, and she ain't even been alive that long. She don't even know who L. Ron Hubbard is. To be protected by the harvest. I appreciate you, Civic on this thing. You know what I'm talking about? Kot, Bot, and Zayin, you know what I'm talking about? Or you can sit back and look at separated by the sacrifice of the son. Because you got that Zayin, so you got cut. You know what I'm talking about? I got 15 more minutes. Verse 16, Exodus 23. You know this is the setup. We get more detailed on the Sabbath. The feast of the harvest, the first fruits of the labors which you sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering in the end of the year, when you gathered in your labors out of the field. Remember what he said? And the ruach saith to all those who labor, rest in the Lord, for your works do follow you. You know what I'm talking about? Remember what Paul said, you were my labor in the Lord. When he come and gather all you up, y'all, his labors in the field. You forgot the parable of the field in Matthew 13? Y'all done forgot. Come to Deuteronomy 16 and 16. Yeah, man. Praise be to Yahuwah. Don't ever let nobody trick you off these streets, man. I told him, I'm telling you, man. Well, if you ain't never been to prison, I promise you don't want to go. Well, if you ain't going for the name of Yahushua, man, you don't want to go. You don't want to go to jail. You want to go through that process. Ask anybody who been. You don't want to go through that. You don't want to go through that because it's humiliation. You know what I'm talking about? You want to talk about a humiliation ritual, nigga? Let me tell you something, man. That's humiliation, man. And remember, your Lord, your Savior, your Master, your King, your Alahym went through that humiliation. Remember we were talking about he put on sackcloth, garments of humiliation. You understand? He was put in the prison house, just like Jeremiah had to sit in there, number water. Took that man out there and stripped him butt naked and mocked him. Just like they do you in the jailhouse, strip you naked. You know what I'm talking about? Just like, hey, man, but depending on the facility you at, them guards mock you the same. Might put their hands on you, too. You know what I'm talking about? That's humiliation, man. Man, if you're going to be humiliated, you need to be humiliated for something that's worth being humiliated for. You know what I'm talking about? And trying to protect the feelings of a scallywag and a whore is not it. Why you think this book tell you don't give your strength to a woman? Will Smith is a shining example of why he told you that's why you ought not to do that. Don't you give your power to no woman, boy. Whether it's a physical woman or a whore, Babylon, don't you give it to her. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Praise you. Yeah, don't you give it to her. Don't do it. Deuteronomy 16:16. 3 times in a year shall all males appear before Yahuwah your Alahym in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, in the feast of weeks, in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before Yahuwah empty. So when you see those 3 times, that's why we know he coming back on tabernacles, because every male appeared for Passover as it pertains to Yahushua, and every male has appeared for Pentecost as it pertains to Yahushua with the giving of the ruach HaKadosh, but every male has not appeared yet on Feast of Tabernacles, and it's mandatory, and the law will be fulfilled. What did he say? Not one jot or one tittle of the law shall pass till all be fulfilled. And my friends, brothers and sisters, that has not been fulfilled. That's how we know tabernacles is the time. That's what I told the brother. I said, if you just pay attention to the text, it's tabernacles. But see, we just ain't saying tabernacles for the sake of tabernacles. We got understanding with it. You understand? We understand why it's tabernacles. Because every man got to appear. You got to come before the Lord. You understand? To bring forth in the fruits of his labors. But let's come back over to Psalms 51, man. I got 10 minutes. Praise Yahuwah. I'm glad we did go that, because I see y'all didn't remember. And that's how you can see scripturally those 3 feasts that you got to come up with referencing the law, which each one of your forefathers, Abraham first, showing you forth is the father. Isaac second is the son in regards to the ruach, because the son sent forth the ruach because he gave you power to become the sons of Alahym. Because remember, Isaac is the son of the promise, because it's not the children of the flesh are not counted for the seed, but of the promise. And then, of course, you had tabernacle when he said, let me get my wife, which is the marriage supper of the Lamb, which is ingathering, which is let me bring in my labors. Because if you paid attention, when Jacob asked for his wife, it was after he had completed his 14 years of labor. He wanted the fruits of his labor. Let Yahuwah be esteemed. Does that make sense? Y'all understand that? Do y'all see that? Psalm 51, though. You could drop that in the chat if you understand that. Verse 16, for you desire not sacrifice, else I would give it. You delight not in burnt offering. So come to Hebrews 8 real quick. You know it's referencing Psalms 40, but we'll use Hebrews 8. When you got delight, it's ratzah. This is not something that he finds favorable or he accepts with favor. Hebrews 8, if you would. See, you know the reason why we look at this stuff like this? So you can hold fast. Because when you got these scoffers and mockers who going to try to seek to make you doubt the validity of his word and in his return, you got the understanding and insight to know that that's a lie if you ever heard one. Yes, sir. Where I'm at. No, I know that I'm talking about, but this might not have what I want. And it don't. That's not what I want. Just all things to consider. You know, you could take with it what you will. You may agree, you may not, and that's fine. I don't take no offense. I'm sorry, it's Hebrews 10 that I desire. I don't take no offense. 10:1, if you would. But I say I can see why a lot of brothers would think trumpets. I understand why people would go in that direction. You know what I'm saying? It's understandable. Like I said, you only have 5 feast days, but 3 of them out of the 5, 3 are obligatory. You don't got to come to Jerusalem for trumpets, as I stated. You don't have to come up for that. Yahuwah's not going to hold that to your task. If you remember in the law when he was talking about taking your stuff to bring up that you could turn into money for your heart's desire, it was for those 3 feast days. Because you could come to trumpets with nothing. You could come to atonement with nothing. You bet not come nothing for Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. You're going to have a problem with Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? You remember that when you reading that in Luke chapter 2, when Yahushua dipped off, they were coming up for a feast day. That's why they were That's why they were up there. That's why they left Nazareth. That's why they left there. That's why you've seen all those people there for Feast of Weeks and Acts. Well, you got to show up. That's not something that you could just feel like doing. You know what I'm talking about? That ain't something, I don't feel like coming for Passover this year. You going to hell, boy. Hebrews 10 and 1. For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, not the very image of things, can never with those sacrifices which they offer year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. For then would they have not ceased to be offered, because the worshipers once purged have no more conscience of sins. Now this is referring to explicitly to atonement, the opening salvo of this chapter. But in those is a remembrance again of sins every year. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins. Wherefore he come into the world, he say, sacrifice and offering you would not, but a body have you prepared me, and burnt offerings, and for sin you have had no pleasure. That's what we just read. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do your will, O Alahym. Above, when he said sacrifice and offering, burnt offerings for sin, you would not, neither had pleasure, which are offered by the law. Then said he, lo, I come to do your will, O Alahym. He take away the first, that he may establish the second, by the which we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once. No need after that. You understand? So when you see this Psalms 51, and he's sitting here telling you, he does not desire those type of sacrifices, or he would give it. He don't delight in burnt offering. So then when we see this covenant sacrifice, this Passover sacrifice, this sacrifice of righteousness, he said is of a broken ruach. Broken is shabar, shan, bat, raj, the consuming of the son of Alahym, to break into pieces, to be rend violently, to be broken, to be maimed. You understand? So we know that, what did you see with Yahushua? He was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. He prayed for the cup to pass, and then he was physically assaulted. He was humiliated. He was disrespected. He was spit upon. He was hit with a reed, and then he was nailed to a tree. This is a man who has a broken ruach. That's why when he was on a tree, he said, Abba, into your hands I commend my ruach, because he trusted his life with his father, as you should trust your life with your Alahym. There is no way around it. Let Yahuwah be esteemed. So these are the sacrifices. This is that's why he say, all you that are weary and heavy laden, come unto me and I'll give you rest. Because see, you're going to have to be broken. You're going to have to be rended violently. See, Yahushua had a broken ruach. That's why that's the sacrifice of Alahym. That's why he could accept it. He said a broken and contrite heart. Broken again is shabar. Contrite is dakah. That is dalit. Kaf and hay, that is to be crushed, to be contrite, to be broken. If you don't know what contrite means, that is to be humbled or be repentant. Also here, this contrite, crouch, collapse, break, soar. And we know that from Hebrews 5, that he was heard and that he feared, and that he learned obedience from the things that he suffered. So from that collapse and that suffering, that's why he could be able to accept that sacrifice from this man. He said, Yahuwah will not, or Alahym will not despise, which is bizarre. He will not hold this in contempt or disdain. And then, of course, verse 19 is going to go into stuff in Malachi. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We will stop right there, because we got 2 more days to deal with Psalms 51 before we got to move on. I appreciate y'all time this evening. Bless y'all at the house of Alahym in the name of Yahushua. Did y'all understand all these things? Do you see the importance of the third watch? Do you see why he's coming up on tabernacles? Are we good on that? Does everybody understand that? Praise be to Alahym then. Indeed it does. Amen, sir. So I did put the times in the community tab. Again, I appreciate all y'all this evening, man. Bless y'all out the house of Alahym in the name of Yahushua, man. Yahuwah willing, man. We'll pick this up on a Shabbat and make it do what it do. And yeah, till that time, I bid you adieu. What you in there doing to my baby?